Hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the Viet vegan because I'm Viet and I'm vegan, and today we're making 3 different recipes that have tom yum. I've been craving tom yum so much. It's like a tamarind based tangy, hot, sour sort of flavor profile. I use this vegan tom yum paste that I found at the Asian market. Normally tom yum has shrimp paste in it, so it's not usually vegan, but I found this vegan one, which was pretty cool. And to amp up the umami flavor for this particular dish, I'm using also doenjang, which is like a Korean soy fermented paste. Kind of like miso, but not quite. The first dish that we're making today is tom yum fried vermicelli noodles. I'm using like a glass noodle here. It's actually like rice and mung bean noodle mixed together, so it's not quite glass noodles, but it's still pretty good. I gotta eat them, so this is what we're doing. So we're starting off with cooking in a cast iron pan, and I'm frying off the paste to kind of bloom the spices. Normally you would do this in a wok, but the past couple weeks I've noticed that my iron levels have dipped. I attribute this to the heartburn that I've been getting, and I've been taking Tums. The calcium from Tums inhibits your iron absorption, so I think that's why I've been anemic. Anyway, I've been cooking more on my cast iron pan to kind of up the iron intake, and my numbers are back to normal. So it's been effective. So anyway, that's why I'm cooking stuff in a cast iron pan and not in a wok. We start off by frying off our aromatics and our vegetables in a pan. You can add whatever vegetables you like. A lot of people like bell pepper. What I find is essential for any tom yum dish is some tomato, because the tomato and the tamarind just has like that perfect balance of acidity. For my protein, I'm using a tofu puff here. A lot of people have asked me what tofu puffs are, how to make tofu puffs, but I just buy them at the Asian grocery store. They're pretty much available at every single Asian market, especially if it's a Chinese, a Vietnamese, or Korean market. We love those tofu puffs, and they're just basically deep fried tofu that is really puffy. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what it is. You just mix everything together and you fry those noodles with some water so that they cook in the pan while also absorbing that tom yum flavor. And that's pretty much it. I keep adding water until the noodles are, cooked through. Top with a little lime juice and enjoy. The lime just really brings it all together. The second dish that we're making is one that most people have probably heard of. It is tom yum fried rice. Again, we're using a cast iron pan for the same reasons as I was before, and we're frying off the tom yum paste that I have in some oil. It's just like, awakens and sort of brings those flavors to life, blooming those spices. We're also adding some minced garlic here, and I have a recipe for a vegan tom yum paste that you can make from scratch on my blog. The only thing is that's different between the store-bought one and the one that I've made at home is that the one that I've made at home, it isn't like as spicy, and it also doesn't last as long in the fridge because it's not as preserved. It doesn't have as much salt. I'll link the recipe down below if you want it, but honestly, lately I've just been using the store-bought stuff and it's just better. So I'm using crumbled tofu because I find it kind of acts like egg. If you have just egg, you could totally use this, but tofu is just cheaper and it's just as like delicious, and it will scramble to the same sort of texture that I want the just egg to be anyway, so it works fine. So you can use whatever vegetables you like. My favorite vegetables to use are carrot, shallots, onion, corn, chopped up vegan shrimp, what else? Snap peas, pineapple, tomato. Like I said, tomato is essential here. And you just fry those vegetables until you get that water sort of released, and then you add some day-old rice. Now, stir-frying day-old rice is the best in my opinion, although you can do this with freshly cooked rice. It just will be like wetter. Do you know what I mean? Basically, you just mix everything together until it's coated in tom yum paste and flavor. I add a little bit of extra vegan fish sauce to add extra flavor. In Vietnamese stir-fried rice, we often use mushroom broth powder as well, or like chicken broth powder. Obviously, I'm vegan, so I use the mushroom broth one. You're just gonna stir-fry everything until it sounds like it's dry in the pan. It'll like sound nice and crackly and pleasant. So nothing is worse than like a soggy fried rice. Keep frying. Also, be generous with oil, especially if you have a thirsty cast iron pan like I do. My cast iron pan is a little under seasoned today, so that's why it's sticking, but there's been times where it's seasoned enough that I don't really need to do that. And I've got the bok choy stems and the leaves separate because I find I like greens to kind of preserve their like brightness and their general flavor and structure. They cook fairly quickly, so I always add those towards the end. Serve this with a squeeze of lime juice to really bring out the spiciness and the flavor out of the tom yum paste. And then you have a delicious fried rice meal. And lastly, we're making some tom yum noodle soup. You can also make this without noodles and have it with some sticky rice or just regular steamed rice, whichever you like, but it is a delicious tangy sour soup time. I have a whole breakdown of tom yum soup on my blog, so again, for any of these recipes, you can see the links down below. But again, we're starting off with frying off some tom yum paste with some aromatics. You can also use garlic here. I didn't add garlic because I forgot. There's different versions of tom yum soup that have like more creaminess to it, so I'm using some coconut milk. I think traditionally you use evaporated milk, and there's also like a clear broth version where you don't add coconut milk. But I think the coconut milk just like adds a little unctuousness, you know? I don't use a whole lot, but we're adding just a little bit just to get things going. So I'm adding some yu choy this time instead of bok choy. I start with the stems first because they need a little bit more time. And then we're adding tomatoes, frying off some of the tomatoes to get that sweet caramelized flavor. I add 2 cups of water plus mushroom broth powder, flour mushrooms. So I've scored the top of the flour mushrooms to kind of get like this star pattern. And then again, some tofu puffs, some vegan shrimp. And then I add the rest of the scallions, the tops of the yu choy and the noodles. And I cook everything until the noodles are cooked through. And that's it. It is a super easy, very simple soup recipe made much easier with that tom yum paste. I like to amplify the umami-ness with some vegan fish sauce as well. This is totally optional. You can also just add soy sauce if you don't have vegan fish sauce. I just like the extra punch of flavor. At the end, once everything is cooked through, I add in my greens that will wilt a lot faster, so like the yu choy tops and the scallions, and that's it. That's the soup. Like I said, you can serve this without noodles. You can have this with some sticky rice, some coconut sticky rice if you want to get fancy, or just regular steamed jasmine rice. This is one of those meals that's just perfect for fall. You have that like bright, tomatoey, tangy flavor, and of course you must serve it with a squeeze of lime. So if you want any of these recipes, I have them linked down in the description down below. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you get yourself some delicious tom yum flavor. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a delicious day.